cupcakes yesterday, so if you saved those, or if you just have like store-bought cupcakes or cake around the house, you can use that. Anything really. And it doesn't matter what it looks like or if it's frosted, because we're going to food process blend it all together. Right?
No.
Okay. First thing, people don't think about this until you have them dipped. If you have any kind of egg carton or just cardboard, this is what we're going to use as our cake pop stand to let them dry upright so they look nice, like the very overpriced Starbucks ones. Just take anything sharp, not you. Me. No, that's for something else. And flip hole on the top.
Oh, that's cool.
Like so, and then we're gonna take our cake pop stick. No! Take your cake pop sticks and boom, just like that. Upright. So make sure you have this first and get that ready before you get started. We're only going to decorate 2 that we have pre-made right now. So I've got 2 holes, so we're good to go.
No, that's not good to go. My mom's crazy.
Okay. All right. So first things first, let me get our cake. What flavor are we making?
What?
What flavor are we making? What flavor are we making?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
If you have a blender, you can dump this in a blender. If you don't have anything, you can really just put it into a bowl and just chop it up like with a spoon, anything you need. We just want to get it crumb size. I have a small food processor that I like to use for it if I'm doing what?
What is that?
A small food processor.
What's it do?
It cuts things up really tiny.
Like,
Just like that.
really fast?
So we're going to take our cake scraps.
Yeah, and we're going to drop it in. Can I dump it in?
No,
What?
because there's a sharp blade in there.
So I'm just going to put it and dump it from here.
Take some and put it in there. Don't put it on top of the thing.
Well, that was kind of serious. Well, I'm going to talk it down.
Why would you flick that on the floor? Don't do that.
Sorry. Can you put them a little bit?
Okay, so that's enough right now.
Can I put the cap on?
No, not yet.
Yes.
Hang on.
Well, I know, but this is going to chop it. So, wait. How do we turn it on? Ooh, chop, 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 chop. Oh, that goes in there. Can I put that in there?
So this is actually just an immersion blender that I have an attachment for. So if you have something like this, it works just fine.
Yeah. Like, if you have
Hold the
that
bottom.
or that.
Put one hand on the bottom and put the other hand right here. Right there.
Like, if you have this or that.
So just blend it until it's all crumb sized. Look good?
Yeah. If you're a plant for your son and you have that and you put it on, or if you have a baby and they touch that, that's going to cut your fingers, so don't let them do that. And this is really weird. So if you have a child sitting and cooking with you and you use this, actually this will be allowed.
Is that our safety video?
Yeah.
Okay, good job. Okay, so we'll have these.
Wait.
Wait. Alright, hang on. Always be careful, this has a blade. Alright, dump that into our bowl. Thank you.
So I'm going to dump this. So if you have a child, your child can dump this.
in just whatever flavor you want. I'm just using vanilla buttercream because this is the frosting I have open right now. So we have.
That's nasty.
Hang on a second. So if you have the equivalent of like a small 6-inch cake or half of a regular 8-inch, you're gonna want to start with 1 tablespoon of frosting. You can always add more if you put too much and make it too like sticky and gloopy. It's really not gonna work.
Yeah.
So always start with a little bit.
So if you have a child, don't let your child bother
Everybody
you.
who's doing this has a child because this is baking with a child. That's the whole point of this.
Just tell me that. I don't want anyone to get hurt. That's why. That's why I'm telling them the hurt.
Thank you for being responsible.
Well, if you ever touch surfing, please don't touch it because you're going to get really hurt. They have to go to the hospital. Yeah, if you can like touch all not sure. That's not really foreign, actually. So we're talking about K-pop. I know that's on like serious, but
Okay. So I'm gonna add some more frosting. You know, you have enough. It should come together and literally look like dough, essentially. So just add a little bit at a time until you get to that consistency.
And then you like, Mommy, would you put in the oven? You put in the
We
oven?
don't at any point put this in the oven. Nothing's going in the
Oh,
oven.
well, if you ever have that, don't touch that because that's the ugly stuff. Yeah. Because that's the only pokey stuff in the pool. Like people poke that or some poke for now. We don't play with this, but this is not. Mommy, what's this?
That's for dunking things.
So what's it do?
It holds whatever you're dunking.
Oh, what's that stuff?
That's for later.
What?
For later. Give me that. Get down. Get down. This is about to be done.
Is that what they make strawberries? Chocolate strawberries?
Kind of.
I'll say that's a yes. Pew pew shooter.
Are you gonna help me or not? Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So
You
this
said
looks
that twice.
pretty done. Yes. We have to mix it together. So once it all starts to stick and clump together, then you're really just gonna get in there with your hands. Hang on. Not yet.
Do that part.
Okay. Make it into, smush it all together into a ball. Okay. Yep, smush it all together.
One into a ball.
No, okay, not like that. Stop, 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 stop. over again. It's gonna feel like Play-Doh or clay, whatever. It'll warm up the frosting and kind of mush it all together. And
I feel it. I want to feel it.
so it'll feel like dough.
No. I ate a piece.
Yeah, I
No,
know. Okay,
I didn't say a piece of the
Now.
cake.
don't touch that for a second. The other thing, you can line like a regular cake pan with parchment paper or anything like that. Stop.
I want that one.
We're not, that's the one we're gonna decorate. I use an empty ice cube tray. So you're gonna take the dough,
And eat it.
here, make this into a ball,
I can do little ones.
and roll it into a little ball, like this, like the size of like a munchkin or a donut hole. Set it in the tray. So once you make however many you wanna make, you're gonna throw it in the freezer.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful.
Oh.
Okay. So, these were already pre-made, frozen, so after like 30 minutes should be enough to freeze them hard enough. You're gonna have this going on. Throw that in there.
Why?
Because we're gonna put them back in the freezer for a minute so we can show how to do the next part.
Can I eat it?
Sure. Okay, so pop those in the freezer once you have them made.
Oh, they're good.
Alright, for the coating,
If you're making pops, if you're making these, then want how many? You can have any, you can have like that many, and then if your parents have free, you can eat one.
yes, okay. If you just have regular chocolate chips, you can microwave them the same way we're gonna do these. I like to use candy melts. I wish I had regular chocolate ones because they melt the best. These ones sometimes overcook really easy and get sticky, so we're gonna hope for the best for this. You can buy these again, Michael's, Walmart, pretty much anywhere. And then we have cake pop sticks. You can use, again, whatever you have around the house. Really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're a little salty.
The smaller your microwavable bowl, the better, because it'll make everything melt evenly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put just a few in there, because right now we're just gonna dump the sticks into them and freeze them.
Actually, you know what?
Hang on. After you have your cake pops frozen, you have to do this step. This is where everybody goes wrong. They can't get the sticks to stay in the cake pops. They're falling apart, they're falling off. This is why.
That's good.
So you're gonna wanna throw this in the microwave for 30 seconds at 50% power to
No,
start.
67. 60 minutes.
And then do 10 or 15 seconds for 50% power. What? Until it gets melted to where you want it. You want to stir it in between each one. Take your time. You can always melt it more. If you overcook the chocolate melts, you will not be able to use them. They'll turn into like this really hard goopy mess. You won't be able to like dunk anything, and then you have to wait like a day before you can try to reuse them.
That's gross. The M&Ms are gross. I don't like those. Those are not good. They didn't even get melted.
I know, you gotta take your time. You have to be patient. Patient, right? Patience is a virtue.
Mommy, can you lick this?
So, no! God. So again, we have, this is our pre-frozen one. The ones we just put in are obviously not ready yet.
Yeah.
Don't touch anything for a minute, okay? You are gonna mess stuff up.
Ooh. That is still not melted.
Okay, so now we're gonna make sure we only do 10 seconds because this is starting to break apart and melt.
Yeah.
Make sure you stir it really well because right now we still have some solid chunks, but it's still a really good consistency. And now that I'm mixing it, it's melting the chunks that are in there. So that means we're right where we should be. And again, same thing. If you're just using regular chocolate chips, melt them in the same way. Just go slow.
Yeah, just go really slow. Fast!
Stop.
Really,
Okay.
really fast.
Take your frozen cake pop, little stick, dunk the end in the melted chocolate.
Then you melt it.
Like this. Make sure you only put the stick in halfway. If you put it in too far, it'll break apart. If you don't put it in enough, it'll fall right out. So you're gonna have this. Put this upright in your tray and freeze it for another 30 minutes at least. This will freeze the stick into the cake pop so that when we go to dunk it, you can usually just use the stick to dunk them.
We need another one.
No, we don't. The other one's got the stick in it already. So, we're gonna put this in the freezer for a second. I have one that's already frozen with the stick. So we're gonna get everything ready for when you are ready to dunk your cake
No, I
pops.
need that one. The little one.
That one's not ready yet. It's not frozen yet. So we're gonna do white
So,
chocolate and then sprinkles. These are just, I think they're just candy making tools. I love these because you can hang on to the stick when you dunk the cake pops, but this will scoop it out of the chocolate to support it more. So they're like way less likely to break.
Hey, Mommy, are those for like? Oh, one day I did something. One day I was decorating eggs. Decorating not food
Okay,
eggs.
no, you're right. It kind of looks like that. I didn't know where you were going with that, but that's true. So we have our cake pop stand
Yeah.
that we have ready to go ahead of time.
So we're going to dunk it right in those little.
So I'm gonna put a little bit more chocolate in here because we weren't using a whole lot for the sticks. I brought this out to show you. Do not buy this. I have 4 of them. I use all this stuff when I make like my protein truffles, cake pops, anything. This is the worst invention ever. It does not melt anything quickly, easily, smoothly. I've had to throw out so much chocolate over the years using it. I literally use them to just like hold stuff as containers for like dirty tools to put in. So if you like super get into this, you love it, do not buy this. Just use a microwavable safe bowl. I love Wilson products. This is useless and they're very expensive.
Oh, Dad, my mom's garbage. And my mom's a little garbage. Cause her nasty.
I'm garbage. You are garbage. You're
No,
trash.
You're nasty.
You're trash.
You're trash. You're nasty trash.
All right, sit down, please. So you don't get hurt while I'm out this.
Well, that's hurts and nasty and trash.
Well, I guess that you shouldn't be baking with me then. Yes?
Sorry.
I keep a container empty where I just put, when I get down to like little bits of different kind of sprinkles, I dump them all into one. So that's what this is. Can you please calm down so you can finish this? You're almost done.
Don't touch that.
Hold still, please. Don't do that.
I'm going to shake it.
Make sure you keep them in the freezer until right before you dunk them. The softer they get, the more apt they are to fall apart once you get them into the hot chocolate. This may or may not melt evenly. Again, only the chocolate, the cocoa and the light cocoa ones are the ones that melt the best.
Well, this is not loud enough. If you can't do this, do it. If you can't do that, you can do that.
If A little bit more?
No,
It's still kind of chunky?
No, it's good.
I don't know, it's really chunky.
Fine, it's chunky.
10 seconds?
Yes, chunky.
Alright, we'll do 10 seconds.
What do you think? Is it chunky?
See, I don't know. Alright, this is why you need to stir it, because I thought this was too chunky, and now that I'm stirring it, it's not that bad. Alright, ready?
My mom's crazy. I don't like her.
Okay. 5 seconds and then we'll do it.
Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was quick. That was quick.
Okay.
Mommy,
Yes.
that was quick.
I know.
I counted.
Perfect. Alright.
Hey, see? It's perfect.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay. Hang on.
Can I put the sprinkles in?
Well, we're just gonna dunk it right in there, so here.
Can I
Alright,
dunk
this
it?
is the one that we froze
Can I
a while
dunk
ago,
it?
so you'll have this.
Can I dunk it?
So I'm gonna use this to support it, just to make sure, because sometimes if it gets caught up in the chocolate, when you go to pull it out, it'll rip the stick out, even if you have it in there pretty good.
Can I dunk it?
Hang on. Very rarely are these gonna look like Starbucks cake pops, I promise you. They have enrobing machines and all this nice expensive
It's not
equipment to
pink.
mass produce them.
It's not pink.
They don't have to be pink, honey.
They do.
Alright, look out. Ready? Okay. Boom. Cake pop. Into our nice holder. Like so. Alright. So this one's probably not frozen all the way, but
I did that one.
yeah. Here.
I'm not yummy. I just ate a piece.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I know, I
So
guess.
just kind of roll it around so you get all the
I
edges.
know what you're going to say. I'm going to say I'm disgusting. I'm disgusting.
Hey, get your mouth out of there.
Dummy, dummy, dummy. Mine.
That one actually looks pretty good. There you go. That's like Starbucks, right? Stop. Okay, so again,
That's
in our
probably mine.
So that's it. Those are the tricks and tips for cake pops. You have to do
Can I eat
each
that
step. If you take your time with it
Can I
and do
eat
the
that
little
one?
do the little in between things, then they should come out okay. They're never gonna look super beautiful. Mine very rarely come out like very pristine and nice. But if your children can stand with whatever patience they have or do not have. Or you could just not coat them at all, or stick sticks in them, I guess. Good? Do you like them?
No.
Would you do this again?
No.
No? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.